second sports whispering come true ramble here today. I try to do one of these a month. I think it's been 3 weeks since the first one. Mix in, sports memories, my own memories playing sports back when I was a kid. Any kind of sports stories and stuff like that. And just talking about what's going on in the sports I've been paying attention to at the moment. I'll start with, I believe the NBA All-Star game was last night. I didn't realize. I think, I want to say Portland's 21-14 going to break. They've been very inconsistent. They rolled 6 in a row, then they dropped 4, and now they've won 3. I would assume McCollum's coming back soon. I think he's hurt. I know last night, I think Lillard and Curry were bombing threes from half court. But hopefully they get some consistency, Portland. I don't know how long is the NBA season going to be this year. It's not a full 82, right? Is it in the 70s, maybe? Yeah, not much on the NBA front. I didn't watch any of this stuff. I used to watch All-Star Weekend a lot when I was young. I'd go by my friend's house, or, people would come by me. I think back then it was just 3-point contest and slam dunk. And the All-Star game was different back then. It was more, I don't want to say serious, but it just had a different feel than it does now. And obviously now, I don't know how long they've been doing it for, but like the captains pick teams, so it's not East versus West. If I want to relive those, I can play the old Lakers vs Celtics, Bulls vs Blazers, Bulls vs Lakers games. They have the All-Star teams in there. But not much on that front. Hockey, the Islanders have rolled. God, I think they've won like 5 in a row. They just beat the Sabres 3 times in a row, 5-2 each game. The Sabres are not good. On paper, they look like they should be good, but they just are not. I was texting my friend back and forth because Barzal had like this ridiculous goal. He like had a fight off Ristolainen, I think. And then he came in on the goalie and he like juked. Then he like went between his legs, came back around. It was ridiculous. And actually, like, it was such an awesome goal, but like the juke worked of going between his legs because the goalie was actually playing him perfectly until he did that. So that was a sick goal, for sure. The Islanders can be exciting sometimes. They do play more of a defensive style under Trotz. Yeah, but Sorkin's been playing well. Obviously, for all of them, they're still getting the goaltending. A lot of different guys are scoring. Epele has close to 10 goals. Barzal might have 10 now. Lee has maybe 11 now. Brock Nelson might have around 10 too. Clutterbuck's been chipping in with some goals as well. Zizekas. Wallstrom is looking good, man. I think he played like 8 or 9 games last year, but this is for a significant time. He's got a pretty wicked shot. That's what a highlight goal is. He just got it in this crazy spot. Not crazy spot, but he got it. Just like flicked it in like one shot. A hell of a shot. Brock Nelson's another one that has a really good shot. And Dobson's good too. So the two they got Wallstrom and Dobson and Wallstrom in the same class. So far, they both look pretty decent. It's crazy how many of the Islanders defenders of picks have worked out, and Gart Snow selected most of them. Gart Snow was a pretty good GM. Yeah, the problem is with Gart Snow was he got too friendly with players. Like, there's a lot of you have every fan base of every team in every sport. Half of it's normal, half of it's ridiculous. They go over the top with their BS and everything. We all know it. Whenever you're a fan of a team, as fans, the team you like that are ridiculous. But the team still, some of the fans still harp on Tavares leaving. I wasn't that surprised when he's left, and I really wasn't overly pissed when he left. I may have talked about this in the past. Hell of a player, obviously, but I feel like they peaked under him. Now, that's not to say if he stayed, they wouldn't have been that much better, but you never know. With hockey, it's weird compared to other sports. But they're still harping on it like he's the biggest piece of shit ever. It's like, the only thing I'll say, and I almost blame Guards no more than this because he was too friendly with Tavares, because I know during the trade deadline, it's the season before he left, obviously. It was, when did he go to them? 17-18, his last season with the Islanders. And it was like at the trade deadline of the 17-18 season, and I think Snow was considering maybe moving him, but Tavares was like, no, I don't, don't trade me. I don't want to go. The only thing I doesn't want to go play for another team for like, what, freaking 6 weeks. But, we can make it work or something. Now, I think that's where Snow's friendship with him came into play, because it was Doug Waite the coach at that point, because he was friendly with him too. Like, too friendly. You don't want your GMs and your coaches being that friendly. Like, you want them to be more of like a father figure kind of, but for sure, but not like, I don't know, like, let's go on a fishing trip together. I feel like they went on like fishing trips together and stuff, but anyway. He should have traded him, Snow. This is where I blame Snow. He should have just traded him, because you can't guarantee that he was going to stay. Now, I knew damn well when he was a free agent, he was either coming back to the Islanders or he was going to go to the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs was his team growing up. He loved them. I think he interviewed with some other teams or talked to some other teams, but I knew it was down to those two, and I'm sure it was a tough decision for him. But they should have just traded him, because they would have gotten something good for him, guaranteed. And they would have just gotten some assets or players, maybe a pick or something. But he didn't do that, and he left and he got nothing. So I kind of blame Snow for that, but also kind of Tavares for being like, oh, let's make it work. Snow's got to make the decision, like, you know what, I love you, but I got to do what's best for the team. I don't know if you're going to stay here, And they kind of reached their peak with him, unfortunately. It's not obviously Tavares, back in the day, the problem with the Islanders were they were never good enough. They were never bad enough to be a top 3 pick. They were always like 4 and 5. You always want like a top 3 if you really want an impact player immediately, which Tavares ended up being. That was the only time they got it. The other time, and they drafted Griffin Reinhart, but they turned him into, I'm pretty sure Snow turned him into Barzal and Bolivier. Anthony Bolivier, is that how you say his last name? Oilers have made some bad trades. But it's like, you just have to move him if you can, and you have to just be like, listen, man, I know we're buddies, but I gotta do what's best for the team. If he did that, they could have kept him his job, maybe, but either way, they needed I don't think, it was Doug Waite, their last coach, I can't remember. Wait, was it Doug Waite then Capuano, or was it Capuano then Doug Waite? Maybe it was Capuano. No, I can't remember. I want to say it was Doug Waite, but maybe it was Capuano. Oh God, someone correct me if they know. Either way, it's like, I think Capuano was an okay coach. So was Doug Waite, but Trotz is on a different level, and just having that like elite coach gets them like 5 or 6 extra wins a year, if not more. And they do have a lot of solid players. Barzal's the star. Lee is a solid player. Eberle's solid. Brock Nelson's solid. Bailey's solid. Their defense is very good. Pulak, that's what I was talking about. Their defenseman that they drafted, Pulak, is good. Pellick's good. Dobson's good so far. Mayfield's pretty solid as well. They had Devin Tays, who they ended up trading, who's also good. So Dobson kind of replaced him. They just couldn't keep all these guys. It's like they had like this stockpile of solid defensemen. Leddy wasn't theirs. And neither was Andy Green. But Leddy's still good. Green's alright. They've had a lot of these defensemen turn out well, which is crazy. But yeah, they're playing well. I mean, you gotta beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And the Sounders used to be that team that other teams should have beaten, and they've been that team plenty of times. You know, you have to, especially the way the divisions are set up this year. You're playing these teams so much, you have to take them out. Like 8 out of 10 times, if they play 10 times, you really got to beat them 8 out of 10. Because the Islanders division's tough. You know, they got all their normal rivals on top of adding Boston. Now they added Buffalo, who's bad, but they added Boston, who's awesome. Although they're surprisingly doing well against Boston when they play in this year. Boston's a team that usually gives them trouble. So, it's going to be tight. There's like 5. Even the Rangers are starting to play better now, so you can have like 5-6 teams jockeying for those 4 positions. I don't know if they're doing an all-star game. I don't think they are. But, yeah, that's the discussion of what's going on in sports. Well, Denver is actually, I don't know if they're still trying to get to Sean Watson. It makes sense for them to try to, like, the guy even said, the new GM said, he's like, they're only going to go after, like, a Wilson or a, Prescott or a Watson, like, really high end, especially Wilson or Watson. They're, like, top 5 QBs. Other than that, it's like, you might as well just let, this is Locke's year, this is Drew Locke's year. I'd love to see this guy take the next step. He needs to take the next step. If he's the quarterback next year, he needs to take the next step. Courtland Sutton's coming back. You got Judy, who will be better. And I had some drops, but man, that guy runs some sick routes. Holy shit. Hamler's solid as well. Noah Fant's already a solid tight end. You have Melvin Gordon, who might be suspended a few games. I think they're going to tender Philip Lindsay, so he'll be back. So they have the pretty decent line. He needs to take that next step. But not much else. And spring training started in baseball too, so I think they're going straight back to a normal season, which is kind of cool. At least football had a normal season too. I think baseball's doing a normal season. I could be wrong. But anyway, on to I had a sports story I was going to tell last time. I forgot to, or it just popped in my head again, but this took place in, it's not much of a story, but it's kind of funny. It's not funny, but I don't usually encounter athletes. Not that I did it, but in the story either, but I was going into 10th grade. I'm going to start 10th grade in September, so it was 94. It was like August 94. My mom, my grandma, myself, and my friend went up to Canada. We went to Toronto first, and there was a fort we went to. I can't remember what it was called. And then we came back down to Niagara Falls for a few days. But my mom's like, hey, you can bring a friend if you want. I was like, alright, good, because I'll be bored at my cord. But we did a lot of stuff. We went to the Hockey Hall of Fame. That was cool. Went to a Blue Jays game. Went to that fort. I can't remember what it was called. Went to a water park, which like nobody was in, which was cool. It was like a water park / kind of theme park. And then we went to Niagara Falls and did some stuff there. That's where I got my Ken Griffey Jr. rookie starting lineup figure. But we went to a zoo too. This is where it started. We go to a zoo. Not many people in there. My friend or I just went off. It's what happened when you're that age. Like, when whoever adults you're with, you're like, all right, I'm just gonna go. You guys go off and do whatever. We'll meet back here in like 5 hours. So we're walking around the zoo, and my friend looks over. We're like at an exhibit, looking at something, and there's this like tall dude with it would be his girlfriend or his wife. I don't know. My friend looks at me. He's like, dude, I think that's Dan Marley. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Why the hell would Dan Marley be here? He's like, I really think it is him. Kind of looking over him like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. And then he left. And we went to the Blue Jays game. I don't know if it was that night or another time. But the 90, I want to say the second Dream Team. Because the second Dream Team was, 96. They played in 94. I believe they played like preliminary games or like friendlies up in Toronto with the other countries. Or whoever they were playing games, like warm-ups or whatever. So we go to the Blue Jays game, and then we come back out, and we're walking back towards wherever the car, and all of a sudden my friend look over. I'm like, holy shit, that's Mark Price and Dan Marley. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have a pen or anything, and I ran to because my mom and grandma were ahead of us. I ran up, I'm like, oh, give me a pen or something. With these two guys back here, NBA players. We went back and they were gone, unfortunately. But the funny thing was, like, we were the only two who recognized them. And obviously it was Dan Marley at the zoo too. We're the only two that recognized. Everybody else was just walking right past them, didn't even know that, like, we're, up in Canada. They're not, I mean, they were both known players, but in Canada, I doubt they would have been that known. Like, Shaq was on that team, you definitely would have known who Shaq was. He sticks out. The fact that he's 7 foot tall, But, Mark Price and Dan Marley are just your kind of standard white dudes, so you're not, I should say you weren't marketed, because if it was like a Larry Bird or obviously Jordan would be known, like a Larry Bird or a Clyde Drexler, they probably would have noticed, or Patrick Ewing. I'm trying to think who else was on that. Oh, like even John Stockton, you might have, maybe not. Yeah, maybe, because he was more marketed. Mark Price and Dan Marley, you didn't, like, hear stuff about, I don't know how into basketball Canada is. They do have the Raptors. Did they have the Raptors then? Yeah, I think they might have had the Raptors for like a year. It might have been their first year. But either way, they were getting passed, like, constantly. I mean, we're just walking past them. We're the only ones noticed, but we went back, they were gone. Almost got their autograph. It's not much of a story. I just thought it was funny that they were right there, and they were, like, able to do whatever they wanted. I'm pretty sure Shaq had to have been on that team, right? Sean Kemp might have been on that team, too. That would have been cool if it was Sean Kemp was there. It would have been fucking... I think he was on the team. I could be wrong. Either way, if Sean Kemp was there, I would have been like, damn it, I would have been pissed. Because I would have loved to have gotten his autograph. Pippen was on that team, too. Scottie Pippen. That would have been cool, too. Who was on that second dream team? It was obviously Marley and Price. Stockton was on there too. I think Pippen, I want to say Olajuwon was on there. I think Isaiah Thomas ended up on there because Jordan didn't want him on the first team or something. He might have made the second one too. The Dream Team 2, and now it's up to what, the Dream Team 50. But nothing beats that first Dream Team. Holy shit. I had Team USA basketball in Genesis. It was in the vein of Lakers or Celtics school. That team was ridiculous. Let's see if I can remember everybody who was on that team. Jordan was on there, Magic and Bird. Those three, Karl Malone 4. Maybe Stockton was on the first one too, but let me see. Chris Mullen was on there 5. Drexler 6, Ewing 7, David Robinson 8, Christian Laettner was the college guy 9. Barkley was on there 10. Stockton might have been on there. Who's the 12th player? I don't know. Dominique Wilkins was on the second team too, I think. That guy was awesome. But yeah, that's my sports story. I'm trying to think if I have any other ones. It's funny, back in the day, you'd get autographs from dudes. When I had my Little League baseball dinners after the season, all the teams would come and they'd give out the awards or whatever. And they'd always have Tommy John or Bud Harrelson there to sign autographs. Random Met and Yankee players. Well, Tommy John was well known and Bud Harrelson was kind of known. Goes helicopter. But yeah, that was the story I wanted to tell that I missed out on last time. And the up-to-date moments of almost care what the Yankees do nowadays. I haven't in a long while. Even when they won in '09, I couldn't give a fuck. But I still like following, and I like stats and stuff like that. I think I've talked about how, like, it's kind of, back in the day when I was younger, when I was really into sports, I like baseball probably first, and then football. Like, I went to that hockey game when I was in 4th grade, but I wasn't necessarily super into hockey. I got into hockey maybe early 90s, so like 90, 91 or something too. And then, all sports around that time, like I played sports, but I wasn't like overly watching them. You're young, But the hierarchy was kind of football first, followed by basketball too. And then like hockey and basketball and baseball were kind of like the same. Then I got a boost in hockey because the Islanders got good briefly. They went to that conference final and they got smacked the next year by the Rangers in the first round, and then they were terrible for like 5 or 6 years. So I'd actually go to a decent amount of Islander games, but you couldn't get that interested because they just were not good. And the Yankees were winning in the late 90s. I mean, I was into the Yankees too in the early 90s. We went to a lot of Yankee games too when I was around that age. Like 91 to like 94. 95 actually even. Who else? And then I was gonna say, like, blank there for a second. It's kind of changed. Like hockey's like number one now, and it's even basketball I was super into for a while. Football I was into for a long while. I still am, but I'm kind of glad that I kind of pulled back because I used to get nuts with football and basketball as well. Basketball I'm trying to get back into, like I've said, and hockey's kind of already is kind of stayed level for a while because the Islanders have been, I guess, since like 2000 when they first made the playoffs again in 01-02, they've kind of been somewhat consistent since then. They've had, let's say 4 or 5, 6, like 8 or 9 playoff berths, which for them is good. 8, yeah, I think, no, wait. They made the playoffs 3 times at Tavares, 2 after 5. The 3 in a row back in the early 2000s. Yeah, so it's 9 because they made another one, I think, 2006, 7. So they've made the playoffs a bit, and they just missed once or twice. So there's some. In basketball, I was until about 05, really into it, and then I kind of stopped giving a shit. Portland sucked for a little bit, but then they were good again. But I still watch, but I wasn't like, like Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge and stuff.